Check it out.
I like this.
Now, to all the ladies in the place with style and grace, allow me to lace these lyrical douches in your bushes. Who rock grooves and make moves with all the mommies. The back of the club, sipping Moet is where you find me. The back of the club, macking holes, my crew's behind me. Mad question asking, blunt passing, music blasting. But I just can't quit because one of these honeys Biggie got to creep with, sleep with, keep the ep a secret. Why not? Why blow up my spot? Cause we both got hot. Now check it. I got more Mac than Craig and in the bed. Believe me, sweetie, I got enough to feed the needy. No need to be greedy. I got mad friends with Benzes. See notes by the layers. True fucking players. Jump in the Rover and come over. Tell your friends jump in the GS3. I got the chronic by the tree. Throw your hands in the air if you's a true player. I love it when you call me Big Poppa. To the honeys getting money, playing niggas like dummies. I love it when you call me Big Poppa. You got a gun up in your waist, please don't shoot up the place. Why? Cause I see some ladies tonight that should be having my baby. Straight up, honey, really, I'm asking. Most of these niggas think they be macking, but they be acting. Who they attracting with that line? What's your name? What's your sign? Soon as he buy that wine, I just creep up from behind and ask you what your interests are. Who you be with? Things to make you smile. What numbers to dial? You gonna be here for a while? I'm gonna call my crew. You gonna call your crew. We can rendezvous at the bar around 2. Plans to leave, throw the keys to little C's. Pull the truck up front and roll up the next blunt so we can steam on the way to the telly. Gon' fill my belly. A T-bone steak, cheese, eggs, and Welch's grape. Conversate for a few, cause in a few we gon' do what we came to do. Ain't that right, boo? Forget the telly, we just go to the crib and watch a movie in the jacuzzi. Smoke L's while you do me. I love it when you call me Big Poppa. Throw your hands in the air if you's a true player. I love it when you call me Big Poppa. To the honeys getting money, playing niggas like dummies. I love it when you call me Big Poppa. You got a gun up in your waist, please don't shoot up the place. Cause I see some ladies tonight that should be having my baby.
How you living, Biggie Smalls?
In mansion and Benzes, giving ends to my friends and it feels stupendous. Tremendous cream, fuck $1 and a dream. Still tote gas strapped with infrared beams. Chopping O's, smoking line optimals, money holes and clothes, all a nigga knows. A foolish pleasure, whatever. I had to find the buried treasure, so grams I had to measure. However, living better now, coochie sweater now. Drop top BMs, I'm the man, girlfriend.
Honey, check it. Tell your friends to get with my friends. We could be friends. Shit, we could do this every weekend. That's right. Alright? Is that alright with you? Yeah. Keep banging.
I love it when you call me Big Poppa. Throw your hands in the air if you's a true player. I love it when you call me Big Poppa. To the honeys getting money, playing niggas like dummies. I love it when you call me Big Poppa. You got a gun up in your waist, please don't shoot up the place. Cause I see some ladies tonight that should be having my baby. Check it out. Now folk shit for that ass. Puff Daddy.
Day and night, I toss and turn, I keep stressing my mind. I look for peace, but see I don't attain what I need for keeps, this silly game we play. Now look at this, madness, the magnet keeps attracting me. I try to run, but see I'm not that fast. I think I'm first, but surely finish last. Cause day and night, the lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. He's all alone through the day and night. The lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. At night, day and night. The lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. He's all alone, some things will never change. The lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. low. He's on the move, can't seem to shake the shade. Within his dreams, he sees the life he made. The pain is deep. A silent sleeper, you won't hear a peep, beep. The girl he wants don't seem to want him to. It seems the feelings that she had her through. Cause day and night, the lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. He's all alone through the day and night. The lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. At night, day and night. The lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. He's all alone, some things will never change. The lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. At night, slow mo. When the tempo slows up and creates that new. He seems alive though he is feeling blue. The sun is shining, man, he's super cool. The lonely nights, they fade away, he slips into his white Nikes. He smokes and then he's on the way. To free his mind and searcher, to free his mind and searcher, to free his mind and searcher. Day and night, the lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. He's all alone through the day and night. The lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. At night, day and night. The lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. He's all alone, some things will never change. The lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. At night.
What's up, y'all? It's Demetrius Higashikata here, coming at you with the current event stream. It's a game stream too. Somebody a while ago asked me if I can stream gameplay, and more or less I was trying to learn how to do stuff like that. Let me know if y'all like little stuff like that, like game stream while I do current event streams or live streams. If so, then I'll start looking more into it, but this is just, dipping my toe in the water, seeing how y'all feel about it. Next, why is this stream so late? Yeah, I know I was supposed to do this back in May, but I didn't bide my time correctly, because I was supposed to do it the day before I come home from college. Now I'm at home. So, my fault. That's my fault, because I didn't bide my time correctly. But, let's go ahead and get into the topics. There's been a lot of stuff going on recently that's crazy. And what I find shocking is how many people agree with the craziness. And that's just not right to me. So we're going to fully flesh out these topics in this stream. And y'all can get my take on it. So the first topic is the Just Pearly Things topic. Now, this, for some people, is old. It's old news, but recently she actually came out on I think it was a live stream or something, and she was basically like kikiing it up with Nick Fuentes, that well-known white supremacist dude. So I do this stream and I start this topic to tell Black men and women this, who want to bring white people into our conversations. White people are going to be white people no matter what. Don't expect them to be anything else other than white people. Don't bring them into our conversations expecting grace, what's that term, good faith? None of that. It's none of their business. Keep them out. Otherwise, you have what's going on right now, a bunch of white people benefiting more or less off the pain of Black people. And that's just not cool. That's just not cool. So, Yeah, I've been telling people for a long time, leave these white people out these conversations and quit trying to be like buddy buddy with him or her, Nick Fuentes or just Pearly Things. Because what you end up looking like is you look like this Uncle Tom character, or you look like, for lack of a better term, a coon. This lady, this lady disrespects black people in your face, and you're going to sit here and try to be buddy buddy with her. That don't make no sense to me. No sense. She disrespects black women all the time, and then the black men follow up behind her. I'm sorry, the black men that do end up following up behind her. Do you guys not see what's going on? I watched countless videos. SG tried to tell y'all. Um, these other voices on YouTube tried to tell y'all. Jess tried to tell y'all. Bronzebird tried to tell y'all. Stuff like people like that. These are credible people in the long run. They tried to tell y'all about Pearl. Now, if you continue to support her even after this, that just shows how anti-black you are. It shows how anti-black you are. Let me go ahead and get this stream, this game stream up because it's ready. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and turn that music down because I don't know if it's copyrighted or not. But yeah, quit following up behind people who don't want nothing to do with you and who have shown and proven to you how much they don't really like you. It doesn't make any sense. It's anti-black. You're setting horrible examples for the black people, black youngins looking up at you, and they'd probably grow up to do the same thing because that's what you're doing. Because whether you want it to be this way or not, they look up to you. Older black people, they look up to you. Auntie Jenny, all the other people like Anton making excuses for Pearl and stuff like that. You're making yourself look bad. You're making yourself look bad. Let me go ahead and start a match. And then I'm gonna get into that Obsidian stream, because I don't really hate on Obsidian, but that one show where he interviewed Pearl was playing, quite literally playing in that man's face and all those people's face who came up to support her. She was playing in all their face like she really like messed with them. And basically they revealed their true colors, and she really revealed her hands in that show too, because she shows that she doesn't know what she's talking about. She just comes up with nothing original. She just pretty much just repeats everything that she hears and stuff like that. So I wouldn't listen to her if I were you. Don't seem too credible. Doesn't seem to like black folk, stuff like that. Just keep that in mind when you're listening to somebody who even agrees with Pearl or any likeness of any kind to that. And another thing, don't listen to white people when, even in other spaces, when they talk about stuff in the black community, because chances are they don't even know what the heck they're talking about. I shouldn't have to say this, but apparently I do, because a lot of people apparently can't think this for themselves. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Next topic is, oh, that's a good one. The Ebony K. Williams situation. All right, so here's the thing about the Ebony K. Williams situation. All right, so we basically watched a grown woman basically hold on, is that lag? Yes, lagging. I don't know why. Anyways, yeah, we watched a grown woman basically ask an elder woman why she was single and what she can do about it. And the hold on, did it stop? Yes, lagging. All right. I might have to pull up something else. Yeah, I might have to pull up something else. Um, well, that's disappointing. I thought it would work because it was working fine the other stream. But yeah, so that's the thing about this whole Ebony K. Williams situation. She went from one thing to another. She went from asking a grown woman, an older woman, what can she do specifically to aid her situation. She's about 40 and she's single. She froze her eggs. What can she do to more or less be appealing to the eye in a relationship? And more often than not, what she came to is, I got issues. And what Yanla was trying to tell her was, fix those issues first. Then you can more or less like find whoever you want. And then Iyanla more or less was trying to tell her like, fix yourself, focus on yourself. It's like that popular saying in social media right now, focus on yourself. If you focus on yourself, people will find you attractive, and people who are meant for you will gravitate towards you. And if any broke do nothings come your way, then you're so fixed that they won't even compare to you. That's what Iyanla was trying to say. And then Ebony, for some odd reason, tried to bring up why most Black women are single, in her opinion, even though I don't think that's even true. What Ebony more or less tried to say or put on all Black women is that all Black women are overachievers and all that, and they have to date down when looking inside the race. And Iyanla asked her, would she date a bus driver? So this isn't necessarily a problem because she said no. No, I want you to go back and look at the video closely. Look at her mannerisms and behaviorisms. I don't know all of a sudden why Black people don't know what disrespect looks like in all its forms, but the way she behaved at that question, her mannerisms were that of disgust. And it was more or less job shaming. It was career shaming. And what was even more fascinating is people trying to justify it. People were trying to justify that. And I'm like, did y'all just see what she just did? She practiced classism in that career shaming behavior. She practiced classism. That's what she did. The same thing, the very same thing that has been done to Black people for years, for centuries. Black people still in some areas are treated like second-class citizens. Yet we support classism. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. This is why in that very first video that I and Lowland did, I said it would take years upon years to decolonize our mind. Colonialism has done a number on the Black community and other communities as well, but I'm more so concerned about the Black community. Because basically what you have is, I don't know what the female equivalent of an Uncle Tom is, but you basically have a Black woman basically squinting her eyes and smudging her face or scrunching her face at the idea that she is on the same level or could even be near somebody who is a civil worker. And shout out to Mr. Z on this, because he actually did a video on this and he said exactly what I was thinking in a different way. But more or less what it came to was this: she is mad that dudes and people of a certain class who are lower than her class in this socioeconomic structure that we live in America are right more or less about what she is and what she's doing. It's nobody else's fault that you can't find nobody. You're the same person who left your fiance because he chose to quarantine with his kids. And your explanation was, I wanted to be put first. Lady, that man had kids. And ain't you the same one who was talking about willfully being a single mom? Why would you do that, even if you're rich? That introduces different problems. They just show up a different way. They show up a different way. You didn't eliminate the problem just because you're rich now. You're still a single mom. And you still want a dude in the house. Preferably one that can show your kid the ropes. Here's what I think is up with Ebony. Ebony got flustered from the pushback she got from the first video. And then in the second video, she was all smug and snide, and the classism became more apparent. And then in the third video with the Breakfast Club interview, she tried to flip it to this Black excellence sort of thing, which don't even get me started on the Black excellence conversation, because that Black excellence conversation more or less has respectability politics built into it. No, that ain't gonna work, because in America, you still a Negro. You still Black. It might get you a ticket to certain places, but you still Black. And it's crazy that you think otherwise. You must have forgot where you live. So Ebony's solution to the problem that she posed with the her pretty much putting on all Black women that they're single because Black men ain't ish or something like that. The solution that she posed was open up your options. And I was like, you can't see it right now, but I'm scratching my head. I was like, this lady does not understand that what's going on in the Black community is going on the same in other communities. From a different way, it's in a different way. But what's happening to Black men too is happening to white men as well, and other men as well. This is a social, economic, climate issue. This is not a race-specific issue. This is a climate issue. And for the people who were talking about like Black women dating down, understand that it wasn't about that. It was never about that. It was literally about the classism in her remarks. She can do what she wants. Don't make me no difference. Don't make you no difference. Whatever she decides to do. But one thing's for sure, that classism in her remarks and her behaviorisms, that gotta go. Whether she'll ever ride the bus or not, whether she'll ever be around civil workers or not, that has to go. And I say this for her sake. I don't have a stake in it. But one thing's for certain is classism affects every Black person in America. Every single one. And so you have to correct that behavior where it is. Because if you don't, guess what? It's going to persist. I had a conversation with this pro-Black guy about classism, and he more or less asserted that it shouldn't matter to you what this random woman on the internet thinks. And I was like, okay, it doesn't. But my problem is the classism. And he was like, who cares about classism? And I was like, well, Black people do. Historically, we have. We've cared about racism and classism. And he said, name one or two leaders that addressed racism and classism towards Black Americans. And I said Malcolm X and MLK. And then he laughed. I guess he doesn't understand that classism is a part of racism, used to subvert basically Black wealth building, Black professionalism, stuff like that. It's literally built into racism to do these things. When you see classism in other countries, it behaves the same way, whether you're in Africa, whether you're in America, whether you're in Brazil, whether you're in India, whether you're in Southeast Asia. Classism and colonialism has done a number on a bunch of people, and it really all goes back to the European white folk who set out to conquer the world. And they did, and more or less they screwed themselves over in the process, because now the upper echelon white folk, their rich elite white cousins sold their family out, and now white people more or less are struggling. This is not a race issue. Again, this is a socioeconomic climate issue. So all the people talking about, oh, just date out, white communities don't have to deal with this, Latinos don't, Asians don't, you ain't paying attention. And it shows. It shows. Because if you were paying attention, you pay attention to the articles that have been coming out talking about the rise of lonely men, the labor workforce decreasing, white men pulling back from colleges. It's about to be a 70-30 split, 70% women, 30% men. And the reason why that's a problem is because people care about that sort of stuff. It shows up in the social settings, in dating and stuff like that. That's where you get the whole equally yoked conversation from. You know, that isogamous perspective. That's where it comes from. People do care. So don't act like we live in this mythical egalitarian society, because we don't. We just don't. And we probably never will. Like I always say, America is an idea that we will never achieve. And it's because we get in our own way as Americans. Next topic is Azalea Banks and the colorism conversation. Azalea, All right, so if you don't know, let me say this. DC Young Fly's baby mama passed away on the basically after a surgery. It's tragic, yes, I know. And Azalea got it in her mind to celebrate this woman's death, who don't know nothing about her, care nothing about her, nothing like that. This is almost as heinous as the passing of KS. Only this is worse. Because this lady was acting like this was a birthday gift. And she was saying that she caused it, and this is DC Young Fly karma for telling her whatever he told her all those years ago. All right, so here's the backstory between Young Fly and Azalea. Apparently, Young Fly said somebody couldn't get with Cardi B, so they tried to get with Azalea Ugly Ass. And if you know anything about DC Young Fly, Ugly Ass is his catchphrase. And so Azalea was more or less mad and has been mad for years about that ugly ass part. Yes, I know it's sad, it's pathetic and all that. She took herself on that show, wilding out, and got roasted, and she wasn't clever enough to come up with a comeback. And now she's so angry at these people. And so when I say she did all that stuff and said all that stuff, she did it in a post. And what happened was even her fan base bullied her so hard that she deleted the posts. I think we have to have a conversation about decorum in the face of death, or death of a loved one, rather. And then I'm going to transfer into this conversation about colorism and why she thought it was okay to do that. So, decorum in the face of death. Decorum in the face of death is an important aspect of social community and all that, because emotions are running high, and goodness gracious, we know when emotions are running high, stuff tends to happen. Stuff tends to, like, fights tend to break out. People tend to take themselves away from this earth. People tend to have these emotional ups and downs, and when those emotional ups and downs are in full swing, really anything can happen. Because if that was somebody's sister and she was doing this to a woman, I wouldn't be surprised if a woman pulled up and like whooped her tail or something. I wouldn't be surprised. Because here's the thing about Azalea. Azalea doesn't understand or doesn't care about social morals and ethics. She pays no credence to that. And the reason why that's a problem is because more or less we've allowed this lady to run amok, terrorizing other Black people, calling other Black people colorist and racist names, almost unprovoked, pretty much. I remember seeing this informative tweet. Apparently, Sky Jackson was bullied by her as a kid, and Azalea called her a tar baby and all that. Now, here's the thing about that tar baby comment. Why the hell are you bullying a child on the internet? Don't even make no sense. Why are you bullying a child? And this is why Azalea Banks needs to be stopped. Like her account needs to be suspended, or for some 2 weeks to a month or whatever, because stuff like that, it's very inflammatory. It's trolling, but I'd say it's even farther than trolling, because this lady actually wishes harm on other people and stuff like that. And the reason why that's a problem is because then threats become more prone to happen, and before you know it, you foster an environment where threats are normal and stuff like that, and you don't want to do that. Now back to that Tar Baby comment that she calls Sky Jackson. This lady tried to spin it as if when DC Young Fly spat that joke at her, she tried to spin it as if he was being anti-black and it was colorist. Nothing in this man's past history has shown that he's colorist, but Azalea Banks thinks he's colorist. So if it hasn't become apparent to you yet, it's apparent that Azalea Banks just likes to talk and hear her own voice. That's what she likes to do. But more or less what I wanted to highlight in this part of the Azalea Banks topic is people tend to jump on and jump in to topics that they know nothing about, and they try to make it more severe than it actually is, which is where this colorism part of the conversation comes from. You're mislabeling the situation. It didn't happen because of colorism. It happened because you were being problematic. And so he tried to make a show out of it. This is not uncommon in modern day pop culture among Black people. Heck, KS made a living off of it. And Wild 'N Out does it all the time. Jokes at the expense of other people, making a fool out of other people. And now it's all jokes, but still the point still stands. That lady should be ashamed. She should be ashamed to show her face. But we know she's not gonna quit until somebody suspend her account. Nobody's done nothing about Azalea. And to be honest, Twitter, Instagram, and any other social media platform needs to suspend that girl. Or straight up ban her. Because she's just problematic, calling people bullet bags and all that. Antagonizing other Black people, mislabeling situations so that she can get public sympathy. This lady even cut up chickens in her closet. This lady is quite literally crazy, and I don't want to say that lightly. I really mean it when I say it. She's crazy. Because she tried to play victim after. This lady's nuts. Black people avoid people like that because they're looking for a fight. Next topic is that 14-year-old shooting that happened in Chicago. This is a particularly sad case. Apparently some guy was yelling in some lady's face, and the ma told her son to get to the car, and the guy apparently thought that she was talking to him or whatever, and so he just starts wailing on her, full force, full punches, trying to straight up cave her head into the wall. And the 14-year-old boy comes back and shoots him. And apparently like chased him at the store and all that, and tried to shoot. Oh, hey, Auntie. Hey, Auntie. How you doing? he basically shot him in the back. The guy ran out, and the 14-year-old boy and his mom chased him out and shot him dead. And then the mother tried to tell the son to shoot the girlfriend who was with the man too, because she was egging on the situation. And the reason why that's particularly bad is because it went from self-defense to straight up trying to murder people. And you, in those situations, in those social situations where discourse and discord is happening, number one, why are you arguing with a stranger? The dude's like waving his hands all over the place. Lady, you have a child. You have a duty to protect that child. Ain't no food worth getting your head caved into the wall. I understand you might have wanted your son to see that you don't want nobody to push you around or anything like that. But listen, at the end of the day, you still got a kid, and you gotta protect that kid, and you gotta be there for that kid. That means you being alive and okay. If you're not alive and okay, what's the likelihood of that boy growing up and becoming something respectable in his life, like a career path, a trade, anything? It'd be very slim. And even now that he took that man's life, the trajectory is in peril, because apparently they were going to charge the lady and the boy with murder and the mom with endangerment of child. And I agreed with that endangerment of child part because she should have left. Now, that's an unpopular opinion. And the reason why it's an unpopular opinion is because I think a lot of people who have been through DV situations or abusive situations got triggered by this because they saw a man hitting a woman. And so they weren't thinking about this rationally. Ain't no food worth getting your head caved in at a chicken shack. At a chicken shack. It ain't worth it. That just goes down to self-respect. You don't, and common sense. You don't need to die over some chicken. The dude was saying, get your food and get out of here. And he even said, what else he say? He said, if you speak one more time, I'm gonna knock you out. After he said that, you shut up and you leave. And no, I'm not taking his side. Quite literally, I believe that dude has always been a problem and was going to be a problem to other people as well. And so if the boy didn't take him out, then he would have died another way. So I'm not taking his side. So he should have kept his hands to himself. And what another thing that I saw was people saying that the men in the video needed to step up and that they're weak because they stood aside, not understanding that bystander effect is a real thing. It's a real social phenomena. You can look this up. I think it was like a social experiment. Somebody was being assaulted or somebody was hurt, and it was happening in public, like broad daylight, and only like 2 or 3 people came out to help her out of 14. But they're not weak. This is just bystander effect. Some people are in shock. I understand the premise, though, that men need to step up and protect women and all that. But I do believe that it's their choice. And the reason why I say that is because there have been Black men who have been arrested for intervening because, all right, so here's what happened. Like, they arrested the dude who actually did the crime, and they arrested the dude who intervened for getting in the way. And so that's why I'm not a really big advocate for intervening, because even in DV seminars, what's one of the things that the officials tell you not to do? They tell you not to get involved, because if you get involved, the situation will escalate. Call the police and record. Call the police and record. That's all you got to do. So, yeah, that whole situation was sad because, yeah, that boy's whole life has gotten a wrench thrown in it, and now he has a target on his back, more or less, because the dude's family who was killed, or I'm sorry, offed, is now looking to build a case against the mother and the young man. And all of this could have been avoided. All of this could have been avoided if the mother would have left the area. That's what's crazy to me. You chose confrontation when the door was right behind you. And no, I'm not blaming her for getting hit, but I'm saying you had a chance to leave. And that shouldn't be bad. That shouldn't be some shocking thing to say. That's light. You had a chance to leave and you didn't take it. You chose confrontation, like you could actually stand up to him. But that should actually just show you people who pretend to be tough tend to get wailed on the most. Just something to think about. Speaking of DV and abusive situations, man, this JT and Uzi situation, I think it happened at the BET Awards and all that. All right, so apparently Lil Uzi Vert was hanging out with Ice Spice, and Ice Spice posted a picture of them on Instagram, just, the same way my profile pic is set up, like the girl like in the side and the guy like in the middle. Same type deal, same type of picture, legit, almost one for one. And JT didn't like that. Now, JT is a city girl, so Lil Uzi Vert, you got something to consider, because why are you dating one of the heads of the toxic culture? Like, you're dating, all right, this is the equivalent of a Christian dating a satanic philosopher. This is the equivalent. Why are you doing this, dude? You're putting yourself in a bad situation. So Uzi Vert gets up there and performs, and apparently he says I got a nice wife. Her wig fell off 2 times. She looked like she got a little fro like Ice Spice or something. And JT ain't like that. And so when Uzi Vert was sitting with what's her name, Ice Spice, and they were talking about it, JT comes up and straight up chucks her phone at Uzi Vert's head. And when I saw that, I was like, wow. This is the woman you want? This is the woman you want? Don't seem worth it to me. Because here's the thing that happened immediately after. She started trying to leave, and he was following up right behind her and everything. And I was like, All right, so she embarrassed you in public, strike one. Then she threw her phone at you, strike two. And she cursed at you, calling you a bitch ass nigga in front of a whole crowd of people. Now, one in three might be similar, but I have this. I'm real particular about cursing in relationships. I'm real particular about that. Like, don't curse at me. You can talk. You can talk to me like you got some sense. So she embarrassed this man. She hit this man. She cursed at the man in public. And now all of a sudden he following up behind her and then pleading to her like, come on babe, like take me back and stuff like that. And I'm just like, dude, you gotta, it's like that meme, stand up stand up for yourself. It ain't gotta be no deeper than that. Like, this lady embarrassed you, hit you, cursed at you. She just straight up and down disrespected you 3 times in public. And you gonna chase up behind her, beg her to take you back? You gotta respect yourself, man. People, all these people making memes about you getting hit on by beat on by JT. This is what you look like, bro. And when they were walking out of the event, like, JT literally grabbed the back of his neck and pulled him to a fan so that they could take a picture. That's crazy. Don't ever let nobody handle you like that. You're a person too. You're a whole individual, and you gonna let somebody handle you like you're a wild animal. You gotta respect yourself, bro. Now, here's what brings me to the whole DB side of the situation. This lady has clearly shown abusive tendencies. All right, so I can understand why she'd be mad about the performance. I understand. I could understand. If I look at it a certain way, I could possibly understand how she took that the wrong way. But, you know, music producers and rappers and all that, they make crack jokes about each other all the time. They literally do. That's one of the things that they do. They just do. Don't ask me why, they just do. But in spite of that anger, she chose to hit him, which I'm very particular about because I see that as a form of betrayal. And I wish more people would see it that way too. And the reason why I see it as a form of betrayal is because it's supposed to be you, me against the world, us supporting each other in this world, and you strike me. It's not whether it hurts, it's that you did it and you felt comfortable doing it. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, those who are here, those who will be here after the video finishes airing, don't you ever let nobody strike you and you stay. Because they'll do it again and again, and that's how these situations get started. Wanted to end this on a serious note. That's how these situations get started. It gets easier and easier and easier dehumanizing your partner. And that's what she's doing. Hey man, if there's any theme for today's show, it's self-respect. Respect yourself. Don't put yourself in negative positions, and don't embarrass yourself and other people. Just respect. It's not hard. But that's all I got. I might come back later with a game stream if I figure this whole thing out. You might see a test stream in a couple of hours. But I did not know that that game was going to lag all over the place and freeze frame and all that. So I apologize for that. But yeah, Demetrius Higashikata out. Y'all stay blessed.